Oh man, it feels weird. Like it's been such a long time.
Yeah, honestly, what was it? It was like a week or so before Christmas. We recorded the
Yeah.
last episode, and then our regularly scheduled return um, got interrupted by life. so, so
I, I,
we're even a week later than expected.
yeah. There's been so much like just thrown in because like over the Christmas season, like I got ill, so then editing the last episode got pushed by a couple of dates and stuff. And yeah, it's just like you said, we were supposed to start last week, but other things got in the way.
Yeah, you
So
were
it's just been
away, and then
like,
I got ill when we were gonna reschedule that, so it just
yeah,
ended up being a write-off, didn't it? So
yeah. But the good news is the heroes come back. I want to put that Naruto opening in. You know the
yes, heroes
everybody
come
stand
back.
up.
What a return!
Speed a
What a
hunter.
return that was to Naruto after that long hiatus where Naruto ended and Shippuden began. Like, what an absolutely incredible choice of
Mm,
opening sequence, opening song.
it's a good opening. I don't
Yeah,
think it gets talked about a lot. It gets
I think it doesn't quite it typically a
mm,
song like that wouldn't have
landed.
drawn me in
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like Naruto or something like that, because there's been some fantastic ones
Mm,
in the past. Living up to that is hard work, but for it was just a perfect choice for return
yeah.
to the anime after so long. So
Yeah. Some great visuals in that one as well. I like the
mm.
sweeping shot of a Akatsuki just standing
Oh
in
yeah.
their group, and it does like a weird low bass noise.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
it was
really like
great.
that.
It was great as a way to tease what was to come to people who
Mm,
weren't reading the manga at the time
yeah.
and stuff. It was
Hmm.
really good stuff to just see these little snippets.
Snippets of what's to come. Hey, it's 2024. Thanks
What?
for joining us. I know, crazy. Um,
When did that happen?
Today, when did it happen? I guess on the first. I don't know about you, but it's like what I'm going to probably reveal something here. It's the 20th today, and it feels like it's been 2 months already.
Yeah, it honestly, the I mean, this might just come from me as being someone who works. You probably feel the same, but
Mm,
like in the UK typically, you get your December pay packet
hmm.
earlier so
Yeah.
that you're able to use it for Christmas stuff. But that does mean that there's 6 weeks between pay dates,
Hmm.
and that makes January feel like it goes on forever. January is the longest feeling month in.
Mm.
I don't have anything nice to say about January at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, it's more so like to do with the banks, isn't it? Because they're closed over Christmas period, so that's
Yeah.
why pay comes early instead of landing on Christmas Day. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't know how it is everywhere else, but
hmm,
I don't know how pay works in the UK. So
yeah, yeah, um, but yeah, and then February's just a stacked month for video games. Like, have you time managed? Like, have you kind of like estimated how long certain games may take you or anything?
no, well, I've not. I've kind of historically, when a big release
Mm,
comes out that I'm very excited about, I'll take a full week off work,
yeah.
and I've not done this time because I'm trying to be a bit more conservative with how I spend my time off, because
Mm,
I get extra time off anyway because I purchase it because I've got I've got a kid and I want to make sure that I've got time over the summer and whatnot to do
yeah.
stuff with her. Um, but I've historically been pretty unabashed, bashfully using my holiday to just book a full week off to just solidly play a game until I'm completed it.
Yeah.
So I've not done that this time, but so obviously the first game that I'm going to be playing in February is going to be Persona 3 Reload.
Woo!
Yes, which I don't think is going to. It's not going to be like playing any of the other Persona games that came before it, because I have the gift of having had played the original
Mm-hmm.
and FES a lot. So
Did
I
you?
already have a good idea
Mm.
of how to progress things in the way that I need to progress things and how to do it efficiently.
Yeah. Did you play Portable as well?
I did play Portable. I played Portable despite loathing Portable. It's one of those things. Usually you find, like, you'll play a game and then you'll like hear that, oh yeah, it's going to get ported over to a handheld console. You're like, oh my god, that's great. This is one of my favorite games. I'll get to play it on like
Yeah.
my Vita, or I'll get to play it on my PSP and stuff like that. And then you start playing Portable and you realize that in order for it to become the portable version of the game, even though they added in like so much stuff, they had to cut back so much stuff that made the game, the original game, good. Like, you didn't have like the open world anymore. You couldn't run around. It was just like a point and click map. The graphics were downgraded. It was kind of like so I've always been sad that like Persona 3 Portable, what is my wife's only only look into Persona 3, and this comes after she played Persona 4 Golden as well. So, which is obviously a massive step up from Persona 3 in terms of like. So, but yeah, time management wise, I'm not worried, because I can absolutely get a single playthrough done, and then at the end of that month, we got Final Fantasy 7 coming out, which will probably take me a bit longer. But I've taken a little bit of time off. I've taken like fortunately, these games are coming out. They're not observing this like weird coming out on a Tuesday thing that live service games do.
Yeah.
So they're coming out on Fridays. So I've taken off that day. I've taken off the Friday, and I've taken off the following Monday.
So just have a long weekend.
A nice long weekend to get stuck in.
I like that.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it? Because historically, my friend, you've not got a great record of like seeing games through to the end.
What are you talking about? Of course I do.
What was the last game you finished all the way through to the end?
What was the last game?
That was a really uncomfortable long pause. Very telling. Very telling.
You caught me off guard now. I'm trying to think.
This is the bit where you need to like throw in the ad spot if we have one. You put the ad spot into like completely wash over this, and then we just go straight into talking about the topic today.
The crazy thing is, I can't remember if it's this generation or PS4. Who cares?
We manage our time. We've got very different priorities. You put a lot more time into series and and yourself. You do a lot of like, you go to the gym. You do a lot of other stuff outside of the video game and media world. Whereas I'm very much like, I've got a family and I'm just gonna spend all the time I can doing my own thing, like at home, which is playing a ton of video games. So
yeah, I guess, does Pokemon count? Like Pokemon
what I will say for this guy, like, historically bad at finishing video games. I've never seen him put so much into a game more than he's put into the latest Pokemon game. Like, he is on that raid grind every weekend. Every time something new comes out, he's straight on it. So
I've been disgusting. Yeah. The fact that I've had to take my Switch like last weekend to, like you said, going away for like extended family, and I still took my Switch because I was like, I'm getting that raid done. Like, it was the fully evolved fully evolved version of Torchic. I can't Blaziken.
Oh yeah, Blaziken.
Is it Blaziken? So yeah, seven star Blaziken, and I was like, the whole car journey, I was like, I need the strategy. I need to get it down.
Got to put the work in.
So yeah, that was cool. No, not really, but but yeah, I tried to set myself almost like New Year's resolutions. So the two I've set myself is to play and complete more video games, because my backlog is just insane right now. It is just outrageous. And the second thing is to read more manga. I've really kind of waver from it. Like, I'll read a couple of chapters here and there, but I'm not consistent with it. So I've put a few things in place. So I've set up like Notion boards on my gaming. So as soon as I finish one game, I can move on to the next one. And that's why I was playing a lot of Devil May Cry recently. So that was cool. But yeah, I've put in like loads of productivity like things in place to keep me consistent with staying on top of these things.
Good man, good man. It's good to find ways to better manage your time. I'm doing the same, but games are something I'm trying to cut back on a little bit more. As I'm in the very fortunate position of I have a partner who's very accommodating of me playing video games, so I get a lot more opportunities to play than you do, and than like a lot of my other friends do. I don't sleep as much as them either, so that probably helps. But I'm trying to make more time to engage in creative pursuits, because I'm very good at saying, this year I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start writing X thing, or I'm gonna start trying to improve on my art. And then I'm like, but when I get free time, I'm very much like, okay, I could do some work and like get up and actually have to be productive, or I can just sit down, I can switch my brain off, and I can play video games for 4 hours without thinking about anything. So I'm trying to go in the opposite direction. I'm just trying to manage I'm trying to manage that free time better to pursue other things that aren't just video games.
Yeah, and get the most out of it.
Yeah, because time is a precious resource. So
absolutely. Also, can I just throw out a compliment and say, like, I feel like you've been watching so much more like anime recently. Like, I feel it in the chat where you're talking about like, you've just seen this, you just seen that.
It's pretty wild that a co-host of a podcast focusing on anime is so bad at watching consistent amounts of anime. It's like a beige flag of mine. I promise I used to watch so much anime so religiously. I just but yeah, I'm trying to put in more time to get through my backlog of animes now. But we can talk about that later. So
do you want to talk about Solo Leveling?
Yeah, I'd love to talk. When do I not want to talk about Solo Leveling? I love Solo Leveling, guys. And would you believe it? The anime started.
It has indeed. I believe episode 3 drops today at the time of recording.
Yep, it should already be out, I think.
Ooh. But what are your first impressions so far? Like, from what you've seen, or, you know?
I think it's very faithful to, without going into any story or anything, I think it's very, very faithful to the manga, not more manhwa. I think, what did I say? I think episode 2 ends exactly where chapter 20 does. I think. I might be wrong that I might actually be adding a digit to that. I can confirm that though, because I was trying to explain it to a friend of ours. But yeah, it's pretty much. I thought that there was going to be a much more I thought there was going to be much more divergence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk about how the anime was going to differ from the manhwa, and I mean, it could still happen. It could still happen in a lot of places.
Yeah.
We're still very early on. Just to confirm before I forget, it goes up to episode 10, the very end of chapter 10.
Okay.
But so far, it's exactly as I remember the manhwa being. Even maybe it's diverted in some small ways. Obviously, they've shown some characters in passing that we wouldn't have seen at this point, but I think that's the only difference so far. So, and it's been great. It's been the voice acting is great. The art style is really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it progresses. And that makes me happy as someone who's been really excited about this. Like, I've been really excited for Solo Leveling to get its anime, especially after it got announced. And so far, so good.
Excellent. Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, there was a lot of speculation when it was first announced how much it would deviate, because I think there was early rumors or reports that it was going to be based in Japan, and they were going to use like Japanese names and not necessarily the Korean names and stuff. So yeah, it feels a lot more faithful than I was expecting. And like you said, I don't know. I don't think it impacts the pacing that much, but they've definitely interject certain elements early on in this. I guess to make it slightly more.
They're trying to streamline it, aren't they? A little bit. I think that they're trying to give the viewer more information earlier on, so that you've got a better idea of how the world works,
and planting those seeds early as well. Like. I can't think of her name now, but the S rank hunter with the blonde hair.
Chahe?
I think so, yeah. Like, again, just 2-second cameo in the first episode, like getting away from crowds and stuff.
You get to see her being a badass. You get to see what's going on the island where the current dungeon break is happening, which obviously is something that doesn't happen until much further down the line. You don't actually learn about that, so you get to see a little hint of that, of what's to come. You get to meet you get to see a couple of other hunters that you wouldn't typically see until a little bit later on. It's really, really fun, really nice way of doing it. I'm not displeased by it.
Yeah, and the other thing I think I have to give credit to is that A1 Pictures really kept the, not like for like, but they really kind of adapted that art style. Not too much that it doesn't look the same, but it still has essence of it, if you know what I mean, as well as like the effects that they used in certain ways, like healing magic and the color palette and stuff. So it feels like it definitely feels very similar, but not too dissimilar, if that makes any sense.
A1's done absolutely smashing, like cracking job on this. So
I'm more interested to see where they would finish the season. Like, there's so many points they could, and I'm just
I know exactly where it's going to end.
Do you?
Yes, I do. And I know that based entirely on the opening sequence. The opening sequence shows pretty much exactly where it's going to end.
Ah, okay.
We can talk about that after the show, because I'm not going to do any. I'm not going to solo level spoil for the anime viewers and stuff. But I'm not sure how much of the manhwa you've read, but if you've read any amount of it, then from watching the opening sequence, you should know exactly where about it'll end.
Okay.
We can talk about this after the record.
I think I know what you mean, but yeah. Really good. If you're listening or watching, let us know your thoughts on Solo Leveling. Have you started watching it? Have you started reading it? Ooh. Do both. Yeah. Let us know. We'd be interested to know your thoughts as well. And definitely the hottest thing of the season, I'd say.
It for me, definitely. Like it would be a wild understatement to say that I wasn't extremely excited by this. And when I started reading Solo Leveling, I read Solo Leveling. I read it as fast as I could up until it was up to date, and then every single week it was religiously jumping on and reading it. So
I love that style of just kind of scrolling through it. Like it's a whole new experience. Obviously, the color palette and everything else, it being a manhwa, but yeah, it was such a new experience. I think.
Yeah, and what you'll see now, and I think we've joked about this in other conversations like several times, but like Solo Leveling has really set the bar for manhwa of this genre. You'll find that like so many manhwa are trying to capitalize on the same sort of like story and same formula. And whenever you go into the comments on any of these sites where you can read manhwa like online, it's always like, is this the next Solo Leveling? Is this as good as Solo Leveling? How does this compare to Solo Leveling? People are using it like Solo Leveling as the gold standard for this sort of story. So I really hope it does well as an anime.
Absolutely.
Especially because obviously the original author is unfortunately very regrettably deceased.
Yeah, it was a sad passing. But their work is living on in a great way, and I'm glad to see it's doing well. Yeah. Did you want to talk about the anime nomination? The Crunchyroll Awards nominees that got released this week?
You know what? Yes, I would, because there's always some expected things in there, but then there's also some unexpected things, and then there's also things that I've not watched yet, so I can't make a good judgment. I can only speculate. So
speculation.
Yes.
So yeah, the awards are coming up, and the nominees for this year's awards got revealed. I don't think we should go through all of the categories because it would be one hell of a long episode.
It'd be a it'd be a 2-hour long thing. I also don't listen to anime in any other language other than Japanese or English. So
yeah. Let me see if I can zoom in here. There we go. That's a little bit better. So on this list, we've got anime of the year. Actually, let's scroll down. We'll save that one for last.
No, that's the last one.
Where do you want to start?
I mean, do you want to start on... No, geez, I've got my own list here. Why don't we do best film to start?
Best film?
Because I think that the answer is obvious.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be Suzume. I think that it kind of got the same sort of like positive response as some of the like really great anime standalones, like movies like Your Name and
yes,
thing like The Girl Who Leapt Through Time and stuff. I think it's really that sort of quality. I mean, it's beautiful. It's like it's the first trailer of an anime movie I've seen at the cinema in the UK in so long that is like, this is theater quality.
Yeah,
this isn't just something that has been made and we're lucky enough that it's going to get shown at the cinema. This is something that looks like it's been made for the theater.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, it's I think you're right. Like it definitely has that essence of like a new Ghibli movie. Your Name, your Weathering with You. Like it had that, like, I can't explain it, but it had that vibe, that quality about it.
The magic, hasn't it? It's a bit the magic about it. So, you have watched Black Clover, haven't you? Sword of the Wizard King.
No, but I
I
have
thought you.
seen Suzume.
I thought you had. I thought I had this vague recollection of you saying you were gonna watch it.
I think I set out to watch it, but in my mind I was like, I feel like I may need to have watched more Black Clover to understand like the movie.
That's fair. That's fair. No, I 100% get that. I think it's I think that I haven't watched the Black Clover movie.
Mm.
From what I understand, it is standalone. But anyone who is watching it would benefit from having a better understanding of the story so far.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
The only other thing I wanted to just highlight, I know First Slam Dunk did like exceptionally well. I think in Japan in terms of box office numbers. I think it may have done well in the West as well in terms of like numbers. So yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd probably put it between these two, between Suzume and Slam Dunk.
yeah.
But the fan in me would probably choose Suzume.
But we all know how popular a sports anime is.
It's always big money in sport.
There's no denying it. There's no denying it that a sports anime can come out of nowhere
and dominate.
Yeah.
Should we move on to best new series?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you got the list there. I can see your list there. So
yeah. So in terms of the nominees, it's a tricky one because I like a lot of these.
Same. It's there's because as with all lists, I haven't seen all of these. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen some of Zom 100. I've seen some.
Yeah.
I've seen all of Chainsaw Man. I've seen half of Hell's Paradise before I got busy, and all of those would be worthy contenders. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about Bocce the Rock.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it is. I've only watched the first episode. It's not usually my cup of tea, but after watching that first episode, I was like, wow, this is something special. Because it's all to do with an introvert who has like social anxiety and such, and she becomes amazing guitar player in her spare time, and it's all about her almost using her talent to try and push herself forward to stand in front of people and make friends by having a band and stuff. So as you can imagine, it's that real kind of like heart filled like storytelling. So yeah, really good. It's a tough category because here's my thoughts. Hell's Paradise, I would say absolutely, it's amazing, but it kind of fell off a little bit in terms of like the community. I feel like as further and further as it went along, less and less people were watching because has a lot of mystery and stuff involved.
Yeah.
And I think people just kind of lost interest with it, which I think is a shame because it's
I think Hell's Paradise will work very well when you can go at the point where you can watch it all.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those. It's what that there's so much mystery in it, despite it not being inherently like a mystery story. But I think that there are some stories, especially like which have got like so many characters, where if you can't watch it all in one go, you kind of lose track of where you're at. I think that's where like we're like jumping over to like manga territory now. I think that's what a load of our friends have been struggling with JJK the manga currently. There's so many characters involved at the moment, and there's so many different plot threads that they're finding it very, very hard to keep up with what's going on. So chapter by chapter, when you're reading it weekly, they've forgotten the point of some of the stuff that's being done.
Yeah.
And I keep saying I think that that JJK is going to be one of those stories where when you can read it all in one go, it will make perfect sense.
Yeah.
But while you're kind of like getting a weekly bit of story, it's going to be harder to like kind of keep track of. That's why it's been so good. Like this last weekend, myself and my wife, we binge watched every single episode of season 2 of
Yeah.
JJK because we were so behind. And if you watch it all in one go, incredible experience just to be able to see it with no breaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And there's a lot of like complicated talking points, isn't there? Like there's some manga chapters that can be heavy text, and there's others that's just pure action sort of thing. And especially when there's breaks in between it as well. It makes a lot of sense. And I think Chainsaw Man is probably a similar, dare I say, to Hell's Paradise. Like it felt like it had so much hype going into it, and then it just eventually like fell off a little bit.
I think so. This is my personal theory with Chainsaw Man. Is I think that Chainsaw Man the anime was extremely good. It was really, really well done. I enjoyed the whole experience of watching it when I was watching it weekly and when I rewatched it all in one go. And then obviously we had the delight of getting to see like an episode on the big screen at MCM. But I think that what Chainsaw Man, and I think what a lot of anime suffers from, is that if it's an adaptation of a manga that was critically acclaimed, which was so popular, it never lives up to the expectation of the fans of the original work.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing inherent that like the animation style of Chainsaw Man, absolutely fantastic. But what a massive controversy it was when people saw, oh, they are using CGI for Chainsaw Man's head.
Yeah.
Like they're using CGI, and like that became like this massive like vitriolic like talking point. Like people just were not happy. They were like, oh, Mappa's gotten lazy and stuff like that. Like it's like people started. I don't. It feels like there's still a massive subset of people out there who feel like the moment you see CGI in anime, it's laziness, like everything. Whereas I get that, like, well, that I don't know where I was going with that, but it's like I feel like people don't understand that like the majority of like anime now, even anime that looks like it's like drawn frame by frame, is done like, digitally now.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing inherently lazy about using a new like medium.
I think there's I think you highlight a great point in terms of even in my own sort of judgment when I go to watch something. So using Blue Samurai as an example, I know that's kind of like a 3D CGI series, and I was hesitant to watch it because I was like, I don't really want to watch 3D CGI. But then when I came around to, okay, there's nothing else on, let me watch it, I was like, oh my god, this storytelling is insanely good. And similar with other things like Spider-Verse and the new Puss in Boots movie. I think like there is this whole like expectation that 3D CGI is going to be terrible, but then sometimes you'd be really surprised like how good it could be, even with things like Arcane. So take the plunge.
So but you know what, that actually works really well for me, because if we move along to best animation, my personal pick, and there are some great ones on here, is Trigun Stampede.
Interesting. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Best animation.
Yeah, it's under direction. Original anime. There we go.
There we go.
So, yeah.
Interesting. This is a tough one.
All of these are incredibly animated. But personally, I think that Trigun Stampede sets a new standard in anime in what can be done with CGI.
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of, it's CGI, but it's like kind of, it's CGI in a very traditionally anime style.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really was really impressed with how good it came out.
Yeah. Do you know what's crazy? Is like in a lot of ways, it reminds me more of like cutscenes or actions. What are they called? Quick time events in video games. Do you know what I mean? Especially in that first episode where it's like raining down and he like flicks his coat and then loads his like gun to shoot all the projectiles out of the air.
It really it does. In fact, when you say that, it really reminds you of like, you know, when you like play some of the Naruto Ultimate Ninja games, and like you'll be in the fight, and then all of a sudden it turns into like a massive cinematic quick time event.
Yeah,
just like that.
Just repeatedly pressing like random button sequences and stuff. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I don't hate it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I guess the other thing, it wasn't the Trigun I wanted, but it was the Trigun I liked. You know?
Because it was obviously it wasn't a 1-for-1 with the original anime, and it seems to be, you know, they've changed stuff here and there. With it, it's obviously following more closely with the original source material, but at the same time, they're kind of like doing their own thing with it as well, which is really nice. I love Vash's new design in this. I love that he's like this. He just seems like a younger guy in this, and then you get into these like really dark moments. You're like, actually, well, no, he's actually real bad. This is like he's a very old and very traumatized guy.
Yeah, that's like a great way to explain it. Full of trauma. Seen some great cosplays of this Vash as well. Some really cool cosplays.
I was sitting next to someone cosplayed as him when we were at MCM, and I went to the Critical Role cast panel. So I was sitting next to someone who was in an incredible Vash costume. So loved it.
Yeah, this category is stacked because not only Trigun doing something new, pushing the boundaries, Mob Psycho 100, of course, has like incredible fights, but also you've got Demon Slayer Season 3, which has been almost cinematic with every fight, as well as JJK Season 2. Like,
and JJK Season 2, like obviously we've had like Mappa's had this huge like controversy over how hard the team has been worked on it, and how it was a struggle to get episodes out, and some of the episodes weren't even completely finished, and yet they were still of such a crazy quality to watch. Like me and my wife, like we were just like phones down, like jaws dropped, like some of the fights.
Yeah, and like again, we've already seen that those particular episodes, like the Sukuna versus it was the Toji versus Drago, I think, fight. Either way, there's been certain episodes that are like 9 out of 9s on IMDb and such. So they've already hit like high caliber praise on some of these websites, but
then you've got like Demon Slayer, and Demon Slayer's got just such a charming and unique like art style. And when they start using the sword techniques and the blood techniques, the animations for those are always so incredible. I mean, even just the start of the Swordsmith Arc Village. Like you've got that incredible, massive, long sequence in the Demon Palace.
Yes,
there's like 10 minutes of the episode. Like just get like we saw that in the cinema. It was incredible.
It's a real tough category, and then to throw in an Attack on Titan on that as well. I know it's part 1 of the special and not necessarily part 2, but either way, like, it's still Attack on Titan.
I feel like in my heart of hearts, I hate it, but I know that Attack on Titan is probably a very strong contender for it.
Do you think it'll win it?
I think there's a strong possibility that Attack on Titan will win, just because I think that the way they've gamed it out
Mm.
has only made it more popular, because they basically drip fed the last parts of Attack on Titan to a very thirsty community
Mm-hmm.
of people who have wanted it. So I think that when it finally came out, it was like just so hyped.
Mm.
That's not me saying it's not good. I
Yeah.
don't want to. I'm not looking for a fight with anyone on the internet. I'm just saying that the delivery method has served to make it more well received when it has been received, even though they could have just given it all in one season. Maybe.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. It's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Do you want to talk about best anime of the year, or was there any others?
Let's do best anime of the year, because I feel like we could very easily sit down for another hour and just continue and be talking about the same things, and that's not to count like how often we'll get sidetracked by something else based on that. So anime of the year.
Anime of the year. I guess here's my question to you: who do you think will win, but who do you want to win?
Who do I think will win? I think Bocce the Rock will win.
Okay.
I think that you know, it's like it's always the one you don't expect, and among contenders like Vinland Saga, JJK, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, it would be the like comedy slice of life band anime that would win.
Yeah.
That will like, because everyone will be like, this is different.
Yeah.
This isn't what I thought it was, what I thought I was looking for, but it was what I was looking for. Whereas I would have, and I only say this because it is so recent and fresh in my mind, I would love for JJK to win Anime of the Year. And even saying that, if only to vindicate the animators. If only to I know, like, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, it's not gonna get the staff anything.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get the hard workers at Mappa any like recompense from like kind of the hard work that and the conditions they've been put through. But if they were to win the Anime Awards, like Anime of the Year,
Yeah.
like I you know, it's kind of a credit to them, you know.
Yeah, you would hope that they would feel rewarded in some way. I guess.
They. I mean, this isn't to say that the animators involved in any of these other things don't deserve it. Obviously, some of them share studios.
Yeah.
But I think that with what we've heard about like the conditions for the JJK like work process, I personally would love for JJK season 2 to win it.
Yeah.
Hard earned. What do you think though? What do you think?
It's a tricky one. Here's my thought process. I wouldn't be surprised if
Oshinoko.
Thank you. Won it just due to A, the popularity of it over the summer, and B, the increase in manga sales the last year. Like, it feels like it really brought a lot of new fans to the series and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that etched out and won. And the same with Vinland Saga season 2. Like, although it's possibly like the more boring side of Vinland Saga, it has been incredible. Like, it's a masterful like character development, story driven.
Yeah, I hear that Vinland Saga is very consistent.
Yeah. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if it was those two. Who would I want to win? It's a tricky one. I'd probably want JJK to win. Like, you know, again, similar to what you were saying, like hopefully that would give some sort of great vibes to the animators. Or Demon Slayer. Like, I know I know there's some people out there that may say like Demon Slayer is a little thin on the storyline, but it does everything so well. Like,
Yeah. It was concise. It was everything it needs. It's everything it needs to be. It doesn't diverge. It's just we've talked about this on the show before. Demon Slayer, they set out to tell a story, and they did that. They didn't. There's no filler.
Yeah,
It is literally just you get the start and you got to finish, and they're clear on track to continue.
there's very few that I look forward to week after week. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I finish it, I'm like, I can't wait for next week.
Yeah.
And Demon Slayer is one of those that really puts me in that hot seat. Similar back to Dragon Ball Z days where Trunks would arrive and I'd be like, oh, I need the next episode. Who's this guy? Why has he cut Frieza in half?
He's cut Frieza in half. He cut Frieza's dad into like tiny little pieces. He's Sukunaed like Frieza's dad.
Yeah.
He's a Super Saiyan? Who is this?
Then that weird like arm and then bang. Just insane. Insane episode. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of my thought process behind the awards. But who do you think will win Anime of the Year? Let us know in the comments below. Before we wrap up, I want to start a new segment called... it hasn't got a name yet. It's just a random one I thought we could test out. So if you guys at home listening, watching, have any questions for us, let us know. Email us or drop it in the comments. But yeah, get in touch. So there's a few questions I found and kind of picked out from that fantastic source known as Reddit. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Okay. This is a nice one. I think you'll like this. What are some of everyone's favorite songs that they discovered through anime?
Wow.
If you here's one better. I'll rephrase it because I was thinking about this. Do you remember, say, the first 3 anime songs you put onto your MP3 player?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to share
remember
the facts?
first one. I remember the first one absolutely. Give me 2 seconds because I do not want to be that dickhead who who mispronounces the name. So we have Haruka Kanata.
Oh, yeah.
Which was Naruto OP2.
Yes.
Just thinking now, because like if we're going like the first 3 that I added, I don't know if I can give you the first 3, but like in terms of like anime themes that have really like hit hard, that have really left an impact, we'd have to go with After Dark.
Yes.
Which is also Asian Kung Fu Generation, remarkably, which was obviously the opening theme for Bleach during the Quaco Mundo
arc. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one other that I love. Geez, what is it called? Gotta find it now because I can't remember the name. Oh no! Oh god, I'm panicking. I'm sweating. Okay. Kai Kai Kitan.
Kai Kai Kitan. Is that
So he gets it.
I want to say that's a Jujutsu Kaisen opening. Yeah.
JJK opening 1.
Okay.
Like that. Like if I was gonna say 3, I'll give you those ones because those are ones that still regularly show up on my like Spotify.
Wow.
I regularly listen to them because they give me. I think I might have said this on the show before, but I've definitely said it to people who I speak to in real life who are like anime fans or like gamers or anything. But like my specifications, my criteria for the music that I listen to, like in my regular day to day, is that I like music that makes me feel how watching anime makes me feel or made me feel when I was younger. So I think the artist Woodkid, he had an excellent quote about his own music, and I think that this applies to how I like to listen to music. And he said, I want to make music that makes people feel like heroes and stuff. So I'm a very visual thinker, so I like music that when I listen to it, when I close my eyes, I can imagine like a crazy like fight sequence happening to, or like how I felt when the first time I saw the second opening to Naruto or something like that, and how hype it made me feel every time I heard it. I love that kind of music.
Yeah.
What about you?
So the 3 I remember is D Techno Life by Uberworld, which is
that was second opening for Bleach.
Yeah. I remember having the 5th Naruto opening song. I think it's Sinesu Ko.
Oh, by Sabo Tender. It's Seishun Kyoko or Kyoku.
I think, yeah.
It's by Sambo Master.
Yeah. So
it's the one that opens up with "Let's get a cup of water" in the full version of the song.
Yeah. So I remember having those 2 on my like iPod Touch like religiously, and the 3rd one is an Abingdon.
Are you talking about Innocent Sorrow, which was the first opening sequence to D Great Man?
Here's the thing, I think I had the whole album because I loved that Howling in the Shadows. I think the Sengoku Bashara opening was on that album as well, the self-titled Aberdeen Schoolboy album.
Because it was, which album was it? I'm trying to think. They had so much good stuff back then. I'm just trying to think of all the, because there was Instant Sorrow for D Grey Man. They also had one for something else around the same time.
Yes. Was it the Sengoku Bashara one?
I'm gonna do some searching.
But yeah, that whole album was there, and I thought that was incredible.
They've only got 2 albums.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've only got 2 studio albums. So we had Howling Inch Up, which sounds like it could be a Sengoku Basura. You had Instant Sorrow. There was Lost Reason.
Lost Reason's a good one.
So honestly, they had some proper bops back then. So
yeah, listen to that album a lot on repeat. That was a great one. But
yeah, back in the day where you had a limited amount of like space, and you had to like sit for hours like in the evening, and you had to curate your music because if you had stuff you weren't listening to, it's just taking up space for what you could be listening to.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure those 3 were mainstays back on my iPod Touch back in the day. But yeah, hope that answers that question. Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more. It's like, it's been this is the first episode of the year. Let's
Who are your favorite bros in anime?
my favorite bros.
Yeah, so anyone, if you think of like bros, you could think of like Yuji and I've forgotten his name already. It's not. Is it Toad?
Todo.
Todo. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, just bros.
I don't know if they're bros in a bro sense, but they're definitely brothers, and that is Kamina and Simon from Gurren
Okay.
Lagann.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so gutted the movie didn't come out over here.
Yeah. Sadness. I couldn't even like give more words to.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer. I like that one. That's a real good one. Is there one I can think of?
I can think of one for you, but I'm going to see what you say, and then I'm going to tell you what I thought you might say.
Okay. I would say... I can hear someone say, like, brother in my head, but maybe I'm just thinking of JJK. Because he's like, yes, my brother. I'm at a stump. Who did you have in mind?
For you?
Yeah.
Tiger and Bunny. That's a relationship built on mutual hatred into a mutual trust.
Unwavering trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, that's a great one, actually. I like that. I guess I was just thinking Fire Force. Like, would you say Arthur and... Oh, here's one better. Is it better? Benimaru and his
Benimaru and his... yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I just cannot, for the life of me, remember his name.
Yeah. Are they kind of bros?
I'd say that they're brothers in like a less traditional sense.
I do want even
they're like
better.
Brothers in like they're comrades. Like
yeah.
Nakama.
Yeah. I do one even better, which is from Fairy Tale. You have the two twin dragons. One's the light dragon, one's the dark dragon. Rouge and
from Sabretooth.
Yeah, Rouge and something else.
It's Rouge and Sting.
Sting, yeah.
And they're the twin dragons of Sabretooth.
Yes.
Nice. I got to get back around to reading. I got to reread Fairy Tale. Fairy Tale's one of those manga which I think is one of those ones which benefits from you being able to read it all in one go. I've also actually got to get back around to reading Eden Zero because I kind of didn't finish it.
It's okay.
It's not for lack of wanting. It's just it wasn't drawing me in the same way as Fairy Tale. But maybe now that there's more of it, I'll be into it. Is it done? Is it done now?
It's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finished.
So maybe now it's finished. I'll read it from start to finish and get it done. Because I am enjoying is it
Dead Rock.
Dead Rock. Yeah. Which has been quite enjoyable so far. So. There's only so many more ways that he can continue to tell the same story with the same characters, though. I am still holding out for the sports like school story, like the high school story.
Yeah, I guess just to tail off on that, there is I don't know if it's being republished or something, but there's the 100-year Fairy Tale side story.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know Fairy Tale has just been re-released, but in omni size, like manga, so it's like 3-in-1. So yeah, I think that kind of, like you said, makes it easier to kind of smash through. Absolutely.
Great choices.
Anyways, I think that's the episode. Any final words of wisdom?
Special shout out for Creepy Nuts and their bop bling bang bang born. The opening sequence, the second opening sequence to Mashal.
Yes.
I've had that song consistently stuck in my head for the last week, and it's not going anywhere. And yeah. What can I say? When you've got that kind of sticking power, like
Yeah.
You deserve a shout out on the show.
Before I forget, AnimeCon UK is coming up. I need to get my life in order and sort some stuff out there. But if you're going, let us know. And exciting. I think it's like less than 2 weeks now.
Yeesh. Yeah, it's start of February, isn't it?
Yeah, 3rd and 4th.
So it's the Saturday and Sunday after the very following day after Persona 3
Persona
comes
3.
out.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no, not happening. Yes. I've got that calendar is entries books.
But I will be there. So if you're listening and you plan on going,
Goats.
I'll see you there. Otherwise, make sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast rating, hit that star rating because it'll help us out in a big bad way. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just leave a comment or your favorite emoji because that helps the algorithm too.
Like and subscribe.
Fantastic. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we should catch you on the next one. Peace.
Catch you later.